I want to make a quick video here, maybe just for myself, to leave a sort of record about what goes on in my life. I don't think I've had a great deal of time for reflection lately, even if I've had time alone. So it's July 9th, 2018. So, and I guess what I want to talk about is I think I've lived pretty many different kinds of lifestyles in 29 years, and a diversity of career forms, which might be career paths that I've treated as jobs or parts of a larger vision. So I have a pretty big vision, and I've seen it as, or I've described it as megazordic. And if you've ever seen Power Rangers, like I grew up, I was a 90s kid, and Power Rangers was one show that was on then, and Megazord was a machine that would come together from, 5 different other machines. And so what I've tried to do is build things in different environments with the intention of eventually bringing them all together at the end of the day, to have one big thing. And I intend it to be fairly grandiose. But yeah, so like right now I'm working in the insurance field, and I'm working in an innovation space. So one thing about it is, I think it's an amazing environment. There's a lot of resources, a lot of great people, but it stresses me out a lot, not because those things are not there or not available to me, they are, but I think it's because there are things on the horizon that if they're done right by a big company — I happen to be part of a large company right now — if they're done right, well, it could really be great for the surrounding area, for my city. And if they're not done well, because of the rate of change, it's very hard to calculate the future. It's very hard to calculate the future at all. But if you know that there are certain innovation spaces developing in smaller companies or in larger companies who can move faster, and there are certain qualifiers and they aren't being met, it's not good. And I think it's like, for out of concern for the city, and I think I feel out of concern for the city because that's where I want to live, and that's where my friends are. And that's going to be, I mean, it's like the only place we can build things on Earth. And I know that connectivity works different with the internet now, but there's still a locality. There's still a physical world here, even with everybody on their smartphones. Everybody on smartphones in transit, even if they're driving a car. And then there's just, it's so odd because I haven't had a smartphone on with service for maybe 2 years, and it has allowed me an incredible amount of perception that everyone used to have, but now the attention is sucked into your phone and you only have so much attention. And there's incredibly interesting things on your phones, and I mean they're built to suck you in at all angles. I mean, we've got it pretty well psychologically figured out with user experiences how to suck somebody into a screen forever, or at least for a lot of their life. So the thing is, like, if you can actually put down your device and live in that world for a few years, I mean, it's amazing. And you get ahead because you see things that other people don't. And, you know, we might be transitioning into robots in a certain sense, but we still live in the animal kingdom, and we're still mammals who respond to each other when it comes to power dynamics and sexuality and all of the body language that we pass to each other. If you're missing some of that, you're missing some of the intelligence that is really yours as a human being. So if you're not masturbating in public with some sort of technological device, there really is a lot more that you see. And the ability to get ahead, I think, has just been phenomenal if you're someone who wants to get ahead. And right now, I think in my life, I'm very, I really do have a sense of urgency, and I have had one for quite a while now, to not only ascend in society. I've descended fast and ascended fast out of the curiosity to learn how every part of society works. Why is that so important to me? I just want to know. I want to know. Like, I want to know how to solve the problems. I want to know how to solve the pain, and I want to be able to have a place in this world that, or where none of my talents as an individual are wasted. And I think I've been incredibly fortunate to have a very long incubation period. And in a lot of ways, I didn't have to grow up fast when it came to dealing with practical things, because my family has taken care of me. But now that I've had that, I don't know if I'm satisfied with life simply being easier because I had a more security-wise pampered existence. There's a lot more responsibility that comes with certain things like white male privilege. It's more than white male privilege. It's just like having a pretty damn decent family privilege, and seeming to have specialized intelligence privilege, and having awesome friends privilege. It's like every time something like that happens, there's really the responsibility that comes with ownership, and the ownership that comes with responsibility. So I think that is a bubble in my life that has gotten pretty big, but it's only relative to what it was before. So I don't really know how it compares to other people's visions of the world, because even though I might be able to empathize with people, maybe deeply at sometimes, I'm not them. So I'm circumlocuting around. This is an update of, there's the amount of stress that I have seems inappropriate for the environments that I'm in. I think, and maybe there's a sense of, the more I deal with professionals that are perhaps higher up in a hierarchy, the more discipline they have to be able to endure. So I maybe take it on myself to have that, but I also have it in myself, because there are, when it comes to environments with a large amount of resources and a large amount of connections to the entire ecosystem of a city, it's very important that that company do well and do well for the city. I feel like I spend a lot of my time feeling and appearing dissatisfied. But some of it comes out of a lack of complete understanding, which I'm looking for. And also, I'm looking for ride or die individuals and ride or die organizations. It's very hard to break down an organization that has thousands of employees and tens, if not hundreds of departments and hundreds of teams. You know, it's like every single person in a large company could be a damn decent person, but there's still some things that can be eroded or corroded and corrupt. And it's like every relationship, like you could have 100 awesome people, but then you've got a relationship between every single one of them, and if it's severed or undeveloped, it can still be a really toxic or a dysfunctional environment. So, I mean, the complexity increases, and these days I feel authoritarian because I have confidence that I might be able to understand that because of the way that I find myself thinking. There are an incredible amount of connections happening in a large organization. Keeping it all in mind is maddening, but I'm doing it anyway. So it's I guess there's a nerve-wracking sense about being in touch with your own skill set, or at least thinking that you're in touch with your own specified skill set, and then looking for the job that actually fills that. You know, it's like I feel like it took me a long time to get here. There's a certain like psychological levels that people are supposed to go through. I forget whose system it is, where like in adolescence you figure out who you are within the society and what you're going to do. And it's like for me, I'm 29 and I'm still finding out really what that is, and sometimes I just feel like I'm here to burn absolutely everything down, metaphorically, and build something else up. So I'm also drawn to people who think like that as well. How can you be someone who is that much of a believer in your own BS? And what are the psychological effects of being someone who believes in your own belief system so much and has certainty? It's authoritarian, and there is a sort of I want to say there's a certain high in it, but it doesn't seem like a high. There's just like a maybe high alert. There's a certain high alert quality to it, where you see that there are structures with people in positions where they're supervising, in some sense, large organizations of people, hundreds of people, and they have to keep all those things working together. They cannot micromanage them, but they have to know what's going on. And it just seems like that's something that I'm already trying to do anyway. So fitting that with a career, the positions exist to do such a thing. In order to get to them without losing my mind and my enthusiasm first, there might be some social corners I have to cut. I don't intend to break any laws, but when it comes to breaking rules of conduct, I have to do that all the time.